Okay, so starting Live2D's tutorial. So for this, I'm going to be setting up a PSD file, showing you how I did mine and how I set down the layers and named them. And then I'm going to start up Live2D and show you how I set it up, such as like the model canvas and either drag and drop. And then I'll do art meshes, show you how I do standard, and then later on show you how I go into depth with them. And then we'll do the texture atlas, which I won't show as much because of certain things that I don't want to show. And then we'll do starting the parameters, mostly on the left eye. So in this folder in Clip Studio Paint, I use Clip Studio Paint, but you guys can use Paint Toolside. In fact, the first model I made was in Paint Toolside, but then I heard that Clip Studio Paint was a little bit better, so I bought that and went with that. So as you guys can see, the model is already kind of done. I already kind of dropped the layers into one. So when you're drawing, you want to make sure that when you're drawing it, and then when you're exporting it, you don't have all the clipped layers, and I'll show you what I mean later on. For now, I was just messing around with the back here, showing you how each part is individual. We want to name these different things because when you drop it into Live2D, it keeps the layer names. So in order not to keep like clicking through every single one trying to find one part, you want to name them. So as you can see, I did back hair L on the left side of the model, and then later on I'll do back hair R. For the right and left, I usually do how the model is looking at me. So left side is my right, and my right side is the model's left. So basically, it's different. So here I'm drawing this. Our crappy looking R. So this you can do this if you want to go with how I do it. If you don't really want to be confused, you could do arrows to show where each one is. To do the arrows on the naming, you can always use the greater and less than signs. So to also kind of point out this, for big pieces or whole pieces, I should say, you don't really separate them. So here I'll show you what I mean. I forgot to separate this. I made it as whole one, and then I should have separated them, but I forgot to. So for this, I'm going to separate them. So I usually do Control X and then Control V. So for this, what I'm trying to show is that this whole piece is basically the tail. The tail is one whole piece. To differentiate between this, basically, if there's no two same pieces, then it's one piece, so you don't separate it into two different pieces. But if it has two pieces of the same, so like the ribbon here, the ribbon has the left and right side, that is the same. My cat's crying outside my door. Shiloh. This bell, you see it's one whole piece because there's no two identical pieces on the right and left. So I hope that kind of kind of explains it. I'm sorry if my dumbass made it even more difficult to understand. I don't know why I made the bell so detailed. It's not going to show up, but that's my fault. Now we deal with all this bullshit. So as you can see, the layers were all kind of still there. The multiply and the lines. Just kind of put those down into one layer, because it's gonna be a mess if you don't. And then for this, I kind of need to separate. So I accidentally forgot to shade this part. I don't know why. I did on the bottom, but I didn't do it on top. What the hell? Okay. So for this, I named it the laces 1 and 2, but I'm going to separate them because in Live2D, when we do draw order, it's going to look pretty ugly if I don't separate them. So I'm going to separate it into 2 different pieces. So I'm gonna do the shoe holes, and then I don't know what you call them. I don't know what that part is. I just call them shoe holes, shoelace holders, whatever. And then I'm gonna do the laces as well. I'm gonna separate those because it's gonna be messy if I don't. So I'm gonna do this on this part. So you'll see what I mean when we do draw orders in Live2D, because basically this hole is gonna go over the blue, and then the pink is gonna go over the hole, so that way it looks like an actual shoe. Okay, so when we're done with everything, you want to export it as a PSD file, save it where you want it, wherever you want, and then I'm gonna exit. I already saved it. I don't need to save it. When you start it up, you're gonna see a blank canvas. Go to File, and then do New and Model. That's how I do it. You could drag and drop your model, however, I like doing this because I get all these folders here that I could organize my model. And then before that, I'm going to change the canvas settings. So I'm going to change, basically resizing it, because my model was pretty big. I changed the size to make it more, oh wait, that's not right. That's wrong. I did it backwards. I made the model a little bit bigger to show more details in the model. So this is this final version. As you can see, I have a bunch of versions. This is the final version. So this is the PSD file. Do this one, and then drag and drop in there. And then you're gonna want to do untitled model, because if you do new, it's gonna open another one. So then add all as new art mesh, and then let it load. Okay, so then the model's in. Just can see, I'm gonna actually move her down just a bit because she's too fat. I should have made it a little bit bigger. Oh well. Okay, so after that, we want to go up to the very top model folder, and then kind of look through all our little folders here. So this is what we dragged in, and this is what was in our Clip Studio Paint. These folders. You want to kind of pick whatever you want and drop them into these folders. when you're done, just delete the folder. Just make sure everything is out, and you drag and drop everything into these folders that Live2D gave you. Next, we want to do draw orders. So we come in this, and you see these little numbers. So just kind of mess with them until your model comes back into what it was originally supposed to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to click on everything and do this little button up here that says auto, and then I just do standard because for the moment I'm not going to really go into depth with it. Later on when we do like the eyes and everything, I will go more into depth with it, because with standard it can sometimes be a little bit weird especially with weird looking shapes. The eyes usually aren't as good with standard, so we'll go in and fix that. We'll also do the mouth, but with face it's kind of okay to use. And sometimes the hair. More so the bigger pieces aren't really affected by standard, so you don't have to worry as much with them. But the eyes, it does have to be more detailed. Next, I do this texture atlas. If you have the free version, you can't do big textures files, but just try your best, I guess. When you're in Texture Atlas, you'll sometimes see these blue rings around your textures, and this is because of the art mesh that we just did. You want to kind of drag and kind of place them so that the blue does not overlap, because if you do let them overlap, it does mess with how the model appears. So I'm gonna fix that, because as you can see, the art mesh kind of messed up on that. So this is what I'm talking about here. Do not let this happen, because the ear and the face the textures are gonna mesh together and it's gonna look really funky. So make sure nothing's overlapping. After you're done, press OK and just let it kind of do its thing. Sometimes it will take a while, especially if you have a lot of little pieces. Okay, now we want to start with the parameters. So I'm gonna actually fix something. Okay, so with parameters, we want to do a new folder down here, and I'm gonna name it face, and this is where we're gonna do another folder under it. I'm gonna name it eyes. Okay, so for face, we go and drag X, Y, and Z, the angle X, Y, Z, into this folder, because it's going to be basically where we're turning the face to the X and Y and Z angles. For eyes, I'm going to drag all the eye stuff in it for right now. So as you can see, when we click on these folders, these will be in them. So I'm going to create another file, because we're going to name it eyeball, and we're going to move the eyeball part into this one. Okay, so for this model, as you can see, the Halloween model, I did not use eye smile, because when I use the mouthpiece and I put the eyes down, this top right part of the mouth makes the model smile. So as you can see, it closes and then it goes up. This is because when she's smiling, you want her to also smile. You could use I smile if you want, but that's not how I do it. I usually just put it on where the smile is at, on the mouth. So as you can see with the art mesh here, it didn't. We're gonna have to go in and redo this because as you can see, it only did the bigger piece. So to fix this, we want to go up here with this little pen and triangle. And I'm gonna erase this and fix this up. So I usually try and do around like this. So then, see, as we can see here, it fixes this. I don't know where this one is at. There we go. Okay, before you do that, press auto connect, then click OK. Should be good. So now we want to do this on this side. Okay, so after that we want to do the form path edit, and we're going to click through this. So then after you're done, click the little arrow tool, and now we should be able to do this. So next we want to find IR open, and we want to do this little keyform. I do two. So then we have this little slider. So when we did this model, so for IL open, as you can see, the right side, or number 1, is open and 0 is closed. And I have these little boxes, or these circles in this, in between 1 and 0. And that's because in this model the pupil grew and shrunk depending on her opening and closing her eyes. I don't think I'm going to do that for this model. So for this, I don't think it's going to go more than 2 keyforms. So here, you remember that 0 is closed, so we drag it to 0. The green circle should be enclosed with the red. After that, I'm going to hold shift and drag this down. And then, as you can see, if we slide it, it's going down and up. So now we want to click on these little green things, and I'm going to hold shift again and kind of drag them into an eye closed position. I did mess up this part, so I'm gonna have to go back in and fix this. I forgot to separate these on 2 different layers, and it's gonna show right now why you should do that. Because when we're trying to turn this, it's not gonna work. So I have to open this back up and fix this. And then I just re-add this, find those pieces, put them back in, align them, and then delete the old ones and put in the new ones. For what I did with the eye white here, we want to copy this ID here on the eye white, then we go to pupil and we put it in the clipping ID. So this way the eye is fixed to the eye white, so when we move it, it's not going to go outside of the eye white's parameters. So this I also do with the highlights of the eye. So I'm going to save. We'll do the right eye later because it's too late for this. I'm tired. Yeah, next we should work on this eye. Save again, just in case. And then work on hopefully the other part of the face and like the eyebrows and the mouth and everything.